Welcome back to the Resilient Philosopher. This is the Leon Dantes. In a world where people are always eager to get from point A to point B, they forget along the lines there's beautiful things to look at. There's beautiful time to be spent with the right people near you. There's beautiful sceneries to look at. Just life is fascinating. But most of the times, how do we treat new members in a team? As a supervisor, as a team leader, how do we feel about training new members in a team? It is extremely hard when you already have a team that works great, that has integrated together to effectively and efficiently do all that are required of them to do. It is beautiful. It's like watching a perfect rhythm, a synergy, just everything going with the flow of the wind. A perfect team. A perfect team is like a perfect relationship. It does not exist. It does not exist because we are not all the same. And it's that unique skill, it's that unique differences that makes a team stronger, makes the team be able to address difficulties in different ways. It brings personal growth within the team. And therefore, it is essential to remember that the way you train a new member to your team will be key to the success of the team. A lot of times when we receive a new member, it's not necessarily because we lost a previous member of the team, but because the team itself is growing. Every leader within a team, whether it is a supervisor, a line leader, team lead, or group leader, whatever you want to call it, it's important that they know that training is continuous. It never stops. If you've been at your job for a long period of time, by now you will notice that the way that you trained people, the way that you were trained when you started, has changed. Has changed because machinery changes, has changed because people changes, and it has changed because quality and safety. See, in order to train a member of a team properly, you need to start with safety. It is crucial for a person to understand that the mission of any company is that a member of that company, a member of that organization goes home safely because it came to work safe. Your workplace should be safe, emotionally, physically, and mentally. You should want to come to work. And if you're constantly having to worry about your safety physically, mentally, that stress will not create productivity. It goes against human nature. Human nature tends to be more willing to obtain new information, feedback, when the right conditions are met. And if a person doesn't feel safe, they are most likely not to accept new instructions. Quality. Now, quality, yes, is important for the organization and is important for the customer of that organization. But quality should be even more important to the production, to the members of a team, to the whole organization to work together with. In a manufacturing scenario. And I'm going to put one that is really close to me because it's one of the first jobs that I had with a company that it was scaled to probably 300 to 400 workers. And it was in an assembly line for mobile and modular homes. And each section within the line had a team. And that team had to work together with tools that were saws, nail guns. These nail guns were air compressor or air compressed guns, pneumatic guns, I should say. And they were rapid firing. If you were not carefully, you could nail your hands, you could nail your feet, you could nail any body part. If you were not carefully, you could cut off an arm. But they also work in scaffolds. If you were not careful, you could fall off a scaffold. There were times that I witnessed a person not putting a scaffolding down correctly and halfway walking through it, fell right down. I saw people fall off the roof because they did not notice the end of the roof and fell right off. Throughout my time in that company, I saw new safety protocols that go into place because of accidents that happened previously. Things taking effect after an accident. Things have to be changed after an accident. But they also had inspectors checking quality. Now, the responsibility of quality goes to the office, comes passed down to the foremen, to the team leaders. But essentially, at the end, it goes down to the worker, to the one with the skill, the one doing the actual literal work. Those inspectors were there more to assure that those quality aspects were being accomplished. They were there to work with the team, with the foreman, not against them. His job didn't depend on finding mistakes. His job depended on informing the skilled worker, the foreman, or the team lead of those mistakes and how to correct them. Are those mistakes being made because people are rushing from point A to G and missing some steps in between? Or is it because the person is incapable of reading the blueprint? Or is it because the person thinks he knows more than the actual print? So it is important that all three, management, the skilled workers, and the inspectors, to work together as a team. This allowed for quality work, for a safe environment, and for profit of the company. And when it works good, when it went good, productivity rose. And when productivity rose, the profit margin went up. When the profit margin again went up, it equals to better raises for each member of a team. And I saw that progression, and it left a mark. It left a lesson in my life. If you want to train a new member of a team, you got to take time. You got to take time and you got to take notes. Data is your best friend when it comes to training your people. Now, in a place like that, the scenario that I said to you, when I first started there, the goal was to do 10 trailers a day. And in order to accomplish that amount of work, everyone had to work together, not only within the team, but within the lines. There were two lines, and if they didn't work together, the flow wasn't right and the goal was not met. And we couldn't go home until those 10 trailers were done. Magically, we were capable of doing those within 10-hour workdays. So roughly it would take an hour per trailer to get around and go in the exit door or the exit of the building. But what about the manufacturing aspect? What about if we scale it to a machine? Well, when we're training a person in a machine, the essential data that you will have to gather is, for example, if you take the time of how it's loaded by the operator data sheet, which explains how to load the machinery. You teach the person to do it that way. Therefore, you need to know how much time it would take a new person to load it, just like the operating data sheet says. Now, the operating data sheet will teach how to load the parts, teach what to look for, in the order the operation should be done. But it is important to notice how other people do it and to properly train that person using the operator data sheet, because that is the way you're going to teach quality. And remember, it doesn't matter if you are in manufacturing or in a production line or in an office. All employers are going to want you to have quality work. Quality work is within the environment of retail, within an environment of any office job that you have. But quality is more known within the manufacturing and production lines. Within those industries, quality becomes extremely important because once you have built a mobile home together, it's harder to fix a problem. Once you have put the smallest component of an engine inside that engine or inside the car, it's a lot harder to fix it. The sooner you can detect a problem, the easier it is to fix. That is why quality is so important in manufacturing and production lines. So you start by teaching them quality first. The best way to teach them quality first is to follow that ODS, operator data sheet. And once you learn how to do it that way, once his quality is second nature to that operator, then the quantity will go. The quantity will grow increasively because now it's a repetitive but a consistent structure system that they're following. It is theirs. They have now learned how to properly move and put every part where it's supposed to be and keep the quality aspect of it. Maybe they learned, hey, it's easier if I keep an eye as I go. If you have to move a part multiple times before it's finished, then maybe you should verify it in each stage of the part so that the quality is there through all the stages. In this way, you can know in what stage the part was run wrong. But the most important part is taking the information of how long it takes when a person starts, the amount per hour of the production, so that you can isolate their best hours and their worst hours, And then you're going to utilize that data to see what they do in their best hours and to see what they're doing in their worst hours. So you can address and assess the differences. Is their worst hours because they're having problems with the machine because they're still trying to learn it? Is their best hours because the machine is working optimal? Or is their worst hours because they're not paying attention? And their best hours because they are paying attention? Is it a coworker that keeps visiting them too often because they know them? I mean, all this is something that you must, as a supervisor or a team lead, supposed to observe. But this is where servant leadership comes into play. It is where it comes into play because your job, even though you might think is productivity and quality and safety, your job is to be human first. Your job is to empower others so that they can take your position in the future, so that they can teach others how to do their job, so that they can become the next group leaders and supervisors in the company. And that is the ladder within any organization. The person in top should always be training the person in the bottom to step up. You don't ask a person to go up a ladder by jumping steps. Each step is required. Each step is important. Each step requires effort, but it also requires the opportunity to rest or to step back a little bit. And it is important that you do the same for these new members of a team. You train them with the mindset that they will be great operators. And you train them by you observe their qualities, their skills. Because if an operator is not good in a machine, he might be better or she might be better in another machine. And if we go back to that manufacturing job that I did when I was 19 years old, this is the progression within the company between the first 2 years that I was there. I went from putting siding and soffits on houses, trailers, to operating a forklift, to building the outside walls, to building the interior walls, to building the flooring, decking the flooring, building the frame for the trailer where the mobile home is carried, to painting, texturing and painting the ceilings, to roofing, to doing interior details, to being a team lead for the roofing department, and most importantly, through all this time, translating for my Spanish-speaking coworkers. And it was every single detail that I learned that it pushed me to becoming better. Because by the time I left that company, even though many times I really disliked the movement from one place to another, I already knew the full aspect of building a mobile home from the ground. From the initial stages of just being a frame to the final stages of loading up the mobile home so it'll be shipped. I learned every part of the company without them realizing it and without me utilizing it. But by the time I left that place, I had learned how a company is run. And I had learned how not to run it. And from there on, I went into management roles within other companies because of what I learned from that first one. Because there were people in that first job that saw a 19-year-old and decided, instead of dismissing me, instead of getting rid of me because of my youth, I was not responsible, they could have just discarded me. But instead, they took their time, they taught me. I decided to learn, to listen, and to focus. And I became not the best employee, but the employee that changed the most, that made the most difference, and that showed the benefits of training people. By the time I left the organization, I didn't just train people to do roofing. I could train people to do any of the jobs within the company. I could work in every single department within the company. And everything that I've done since then has been thanks, again, to the people that taught me in that first job as an adult. That was the first job I did. So next time that you have a new team member, next time that you're training someone new, ask yourself, do you still remember the way that you were taught? Do you remember the words, the actions that made you want to quit or not listen to the instruction given? Do you remember how hard it was for you? How nervous were you on your first day of work in a new place? Or are you going to judge the person because you already have the knowledge of the job, because you've been there for a while and they don't? This is the moment that you decide how important it is for you to be a servant leader, to be the one to empower others, to be the person that you were not, to become the person that you wish to be the best that they can be. We are all in this together. So your comments, your feedback keeps the podcast, the website alive. As you can see by now, the advertising has been back up on the podcast. I also now enrolled with Buy Me Coffee in order to offer a way for people to help with the cost of operations of the podcast and the website. And also the 3 books are available to download for free on the website, visionleon.com, and they are in PDF format. Hope you take your time and look for them on the website. And most importantly is for you to share the content, for you to bring awareness. That is the greatest support that you can give to the Resilient Philosopher and to the website, visionleon.com. We depend on you. You are the greatest support that the Resilient Philosopher and Vision Leon LLC can possibly have. There's no better way. There's nothing I'll ever write that can surpass what you, the listener, the reader, the philosopher, the thinker, can possibly do by sharing the content from this podcast and from the website. And look for us. Look for us in your favorite social media platform. We are most likely there. And also, keep an eye Keep an eye because sooner than what you think, sooner than what you expect, new books are coming. New content will be available. Because resilience is not born out of stagnation. Resilience is born from learning from mistakes and moving forward. Keeping forward. Always showing up for yourself and helping others by empowering them to be their better self.